Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second installment of for Discussions, where we give you guys an update on what we've been working on Discusions.app, as well as cover some of the stories you might have missed on Discusions.app. So this show is recorded in front of a live audience, and you could join us every weekend and listen to and contribute to this discussion on our Discord server. We just ask that when you do participate, reserve your comments and messages until at least we finish our housekeeping, which is our team update. And if you have a particularly long point to make, we recommend that you leave a comment on the post, our show notes that will be released a day before the show, and we'll be sure to include it in the show. Or if you have something to comment on any of the stories on the show itself, leave a comment on the post-show video, and we'll be sure to include it in next week, and we will tip you some ATMOS for contributing to the show. So with me today, we have Paul and Brian. So if you guys want to just say hi real quick.
Hi. Hey, sorry, guys.
No, we got Paul. We also have Asphyxia listening in, but he is currently on mute. So let's start with the team updates, starting with a big announcement we have this week, and is that ATMOS staking is coming next week. And to explain what you have to do to get ready for it, we have Brian Paul. So Brian Paul, take it away.
Yeah, it's actually coming on the 18th.
Okay.
But good enough. So yeah, Wednesday the 18th we'll begin staking at 00 UTC time. There's going to be a year where 1 million ATMOS will be released, and that's 2,740 ATMOS per day. So if you're staking 10,000 ATMOS and there are a total of 100,000 ATMOS staked, you'll receive 274 ATMOS a day. So that's 10% of the total. So you're essentially getting a direct proportion of the total ATMOS in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So staking is pretty simple for this phase one. To stake, all you need to do is establish a unified ID, and then deposit ATMOS to that unified ID. And any ATMOS held in that unified ID will be eligible for staking rewards.
Right.
So
if you have an ATMOS account right now, Paul, if you have a discussion ID right now and you have some ATMOS on it, do you have to do anything else?
You don't have to do anything else. That ATMOS will earn staking rewards.
Okay.
So
awesome. What if I have my ATMOS in my EOS account? What do I need to do?
You'll need to deposit it to your unified ID. So if you have your ATMOS in an EOS account, you can link that EOS account via the Discusions .app wallet interface, and then you can make a deposit to your unified ID.
Okay. I'm sure
and that's how you get ATMOS into the system.
Okay, awesome. I'm sure we'll come up with a simple guide. It's just 2 steps process. Very simple.
Yep. So to just kind of go over what the purpose of this staking is, one thing is it's to incentivize use of the forum by incentivizing people to establish a unified ID. It also is preparing users for phase 2 of staking. This phase 1 will last a year regardless. So we have 1 million ATMOS that will be released just simply by having your ATMOS in the system. But at some point, and we haven't worked out the timing exactly, but phase 2 will begin, and it will run congruently with phase 1 until phase 1 runs out. And then phase 2 will be the default basic staking, and it will have a slightly higher reward based on the fact that it will be a time lock system. So if you lock your ATMOS up for up to a year period, you will have a heavier weight in staking. So that's the essentials of phase 2. There's a time lock. We'll have more details about that as we get closer to releasing that.
Well, the main purpose of phase 2 is just to incentivize people to stake for longer periods of hold on to the ATMOS token for longer.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to provide more details once we figure out everything out.
Mm-hmm. And there's going to be phase 3 as well, right?
Yep. So in phase 3, everything will be time locked, and it will also require software, and it will run in parallel to phase. And if you are running the software, I believe there is a further increased weight where you'll receive more returns for staking.
Yep, so that is correct.
Yeah, so just to recap, there's 3 phases. Phase 1's rolling out on the 18th. And all you have to do is deposit your Atmos token on your Unify ID if you haven't done it already. And phase two, what you have to do, well, you basically lock up your Atmos, and then the longer you lock it up, the more Atmos you get. And finally, phase three, that requires special software, which is the Atmos DB, and will help us to keep the platform decentralized. Is that correct?
Yep, that hits all the points.
Okay, awesome. So again, if you guys haven't registered for a Unify ID yet, please do so on Discusions.app. Make sure you deposit your Atmos onto the Discussions ID if you want to start, getting ready for the staking system to begin. Again, once you deposit your Atmos, that system works automatically. You don't have to do anything else. It pays out 2,740 Atmos per day, and then you get a portion of that relative to how much of the total Atmos is staked at any given time. Okay, so I think that's everything for staking.
Yeah, I think that covers it all.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to some events that we were running on Discussion. So Paul, do you want to talk about the Atmos Free Speech event and how that whole thing went?
Sure. So we started our Atmos Free Speech contest just to get people thinking about some of the important issues that we're trying to make, the platform, center around. And free speech is obviously a pretty important principle. And so we wanted to get, the community's take on what kind of famous quotes involving free speech are kind of important to them, and what, kind of start getting a collection of those quotes, because I think it's important for people to be able to, see historically how people have viewed this issue. Mm-hmm. So we wrapped up the contest, but we also decided to kind of just continue it. So that if you wanted to earn Atmos, you could simply put a quote under the free speech topic, and we continue paying out 25 Atmos per entry. So we paid out the top prizes to the most upvoted post and the post that had the most Twitter likes. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be continuing these types of contests on similar topics in the future. I think it's good to, as sort of a touch point on what this project is about, mm-hmm. to have contests that highlight it. So, mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of the wrap up. So as I said, if you have quotes that you find are important to you, you should post them under the free speech topic, and you'll earn a little Atmos for it.
Yeah. So again, as we are building out the platform, it's not just the website or the tools that we're building out. We really want to build a community around the idea of free speech. Now, obviously, it seems like a very straightforward topic, but I think everyone has a slightly different idea of what they think free speech is. And it's just really interesting, just from the quotes I've already gotten, that not everyone thinks about free speech the same way. I think there was one quote in particular that stood out, where they say that you have the right to speak, but you don't have the right to a platform to speak. I don't remember the exact quote, but I will dig it up and I will include it in the post. So that just shows to you that usually when at least when I think about free speech, the conception that I get from people is just that I could say whatever I want without consequences, and you need to let me be able to speak it. And with that quote, that kind of it doesn't go against it completely, but it does make it a little bit more nuanced than that perspective of it. So yeah, so I think it's very interesting, and I definitely would like to continue this discussion on what free speech means to you on our show, but also on Discussion. So do submit your quotes, and again, we're giving out Atmos for these quotes. So again, once you get the Atmos, you can start staking it, and you could earn some more. So another event that finally wrapped up this week was the Boid Riddle Run. So the Boid Riddle Run, we gave out around 226,000 Boid. So that was quite a bit of Boid that we gave out for simple riddles just to get the community engaged. So we wrapped that up. If you want to check out all the riddles, you could go check out the Boid sub. If you want to figure out, if you want to know what to do with your Boid, if you want some Boid tokens, there's a link in the wrap up post to tell you how to start staking your Boid and how to, if you want to start running the Boid software so you can earn even more Boid in the future. We're also looking for ideas to what to do next for the next event. So if you have any ideas, please do submit them. We already got a few submissions about doing like puzzles and crosswords, so things like that. Again, if you have any ideas on what would be a good event to do that fits the ethos of Boid, which is to once again to use allow users contribute their spare computing power to power academic research such as medicine, meteorology, aerospace, and machine learning. So if that is something that you find interesting, go check out the Boid tag. Okay, so we have a big story we want to cover this week, and that is a little bit outside of our blockchain, but I think it's still quite important to the discussion of the cryptocurrency space in general, and that is there has been a power struggle going on the Steem blockchain. Brian, have you heard any of this, or should I give you a rundown of kind of?
I've seen some of the posts regarding the Steam power struggle, but give me a rundown, that'd be great.
Yeah, so actually Vitalik gave a pretty great rundown of the whole situation. So as you know, Steem is a blockchain that is also built by Dan Larimer, I think back in 2016, before he moved over and started EOS. On the Steem blockchain, the biggest application was a website called Steemit. So the Steem blockchain is very, very much intertwined with the Steemit website, to the point that where most people just, when they think about Steem, they just think Steemit. The two is interchangeable for most people, right? So what happened is that Steemit has been struggling financially, and just I think on the same day that the voice beta was announced, Ned, the CEO of Steemit, came out with an announcement that Tron has purchased Steemit, the website. So that's kind of like the spark of all this power struggle. So it's kind of weird, you know, a blockchain buying another blockchain is not something we have quite experienced in the past. So what happened?
So I heard that some of the large exchanges were helping Justin to take over Steam.
Yeah, so you skip a little bit, you jump ahead a little bit.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's all right. So after Trump bought Steemit, the witnesses, because Steemit Inc., the company, still holds a large stake of the Steemit platform, and it's similar to how Block One holds a large stake in the EOS ecosystem, they have a lot of weight in terms of they could. I still think Block One might be able to single-handedly replace all the block producers. Don't quote me on that. So Steemit Inc., the company, very much have the same power. So after Steemit Inc. was purchased, the BP's equivalent on Steemit, they're called witnesses, implemented a reversible soft fork to prevent Steemit Inc. from voting with their shares. Now, this now we could there's two sides to this argument, whether or not the witnesses done the right thing, but what happened after it was definitely, in my opinion, not the right move to make. And that is Justin Sun, in collaboration with Binance, Huawei, and Poloniex, used their users' funds, their users' Steem, to vote in witnesses or block producers that will help them take control of the chain and vote out the previous witnesses that implemented the soft fork. Are you catching everything so far?
Yep.
Yeah, so that is just like right now it's a full-on civil war. They're constantly still fighting to get back a majority control of the blockchain. And yeah, it's a crazy thing that's happening at the moment.
So Jack, what would happen if users started wanting to withdraw their Steam from these exchanges? Would it be available?
No, it wouldn't. No.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like this. The other piece to this is that they've essentially locked withdrawals because they've powered the Steam up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's essentially right.
Exactly. So again, we could argue like whether or not it was the right thing. Sorry, bro?
So like if people like deposited like Steam tokens on say like Binance, can they withdraw those tokens or no?
Currently I'm pretty sure they have closed down all withdrawal of Steemit tokens, Steam tokens.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is
Quite
definitely
extreme.
yeah, this is definitely, in my opinion, the overreach of decentralized exchanges, and that's one of the dangers of leaving your tokens on centralized exchanges. Not only are you at risk of not being able to access your funds, but you're also giving like these centralized exchanges, especially for the proof of stake blockchains, you're giving them a lot of power over the blockchain. So that is definitely, I think, in my opinion, a danger, a fault of this decentralized exchanges, and not necessarily on the blockchain structure itself, which a lot of people are conflating.
It seems like, particularly for proof of stake, the risks for this kind of stuff is pretty high.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and if hopefully this starts getting people kind of rethinking their investment strategies in terms of using centralized exchanges, particularly when they are holding tokens that are, part of the governance structure or for the chain itself. I think that's something that people are really going to have to reconsider. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this spurs more interest in decentralized exchanges that allow their users to hold their funds and just make peer-to-peer trades.
Yeah, I agree. So that's like the major point. There's definitely a lot of firework coming out from the fight. Justin Sun is not known for being the most classy person. So a few days before, he came out with essentially his criteria of, if you want to be a block producer on the Steemit blockchain, here are the things that you have to check. And one of the items was, do you want to fuck with Justin Sun? So Justin Sun being classy as always, doing the right thing, communicating the right way.
Yeah. So he's essentially destroying this thing he just paid a lot of money for. I mean, that's kind of like the bottom line in my view is that. Because that's case what he ends up in control, but it's super centralized and no one really cares about it anymore, or he loses control of it completely and he essentially is more or less on a different fork, because Steam will have the Tron version and the kind of original version. Is that accurate?
I think the idea was to move the entire Steam blockchain over to Tron, which I'm not even sure how that would work, to be honest, because
is there value in that? Or are they just taking their users? Or how does
they're basically just taking their users? Because if you know the history of Tron, they purchased BitTorrent, and they purchased I think it was DLive. Again, don't quote me on that, but they do a lot of these acquisitions specifically for their user base. So that was the idea. But the interesting thing is that the Steemit community is actually fighting back. They are actively fighting Tron. There's 2 trending hashtags. Trending is hashtag Steam is not Tron and hashtag Steemit hostile takeover. So they are fighting back. And someone brought up another good point. It's like, well, this just goes to show that you can't. One of the things that you can't buy with money is a community. And I think that's a very good point. Okay, let's start to wrap up the story. I just want to give the other point of view and some extra details. And one of the things that didn't bring up enough was that there's actually another individual that is probably culpable in this story, and that is Ned Scott. That's the ex-CEO of Steemit. I have the opportunity to meet with him briefly in person a few years back in a Steam Fest, and it seemed like it already to me that he kind of checked out back then. Like he wasn't. I think it was maybe the departure of Dan leaving Steemit. It really didn't feel like he was that involved with the community anymore, and in my opinion, he wanted to be out of Steemit for a very long time. And I think when Justin or the Tron Foundation reached out, he made a sale very quickly without giving like the background on some of the important details of how Steemit got their share of Steemit tokens, which it was a controversial point. Some people say they were ninja mines. Some people they say they got it. Ned said that he got it fair and square. Whatever the case may be, it didn't feel like Ned fully disclosed what happened and how they came to these Steam tokens fully to Tron and to the Steam to Justin Sun. So I think that is an important note. And also someone said, I'm not sure the details, but it looks like the witnesses pulled the first punch, a preemptive one. There should have been an open dialogue without anything done hastily. I think it boils down to miscommunication. I think Justin Sun is receiving more heat because he's already treated as bad guy in crypto. Whether that is the case or not is irrelevant. It just seems ironic they usually sucker punch to start the fight, and now Justin Sun knocked them out in retaliation. They're acting as if they are the victims. So that's the other point of view. That Justin Sun, he bought his stake. It doesn't matter how they came about. That's the whole point of cryptocurrencies. They're interchangeable. He was using his rightfully purchased tokens to vote. He's done everything that he wasn't violating any laws. He wasn't violating any of the protocols, and it was the witnesses that do the soft fork that really violated the idea of, if you own a token, you own a stake in the system. You have an equal weight. You have that weight of voice in that ecosystem. So that's the other perspective. Okay, I think we kind of went on and on about this. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that kind of gave everyone a good view of it.
Yeah. So again, I just think this story is very interesting, and this kind of capture the cryptocurrency community as a whole. So I thought it would be worth a discussion. Obviously, and you don't hear about one blockchain buying the other any other day of the week. So that was quite unique, to say the least. So we're gonna take a small break from the content and give you guys some of our partner updates. So these are the partners that we've been working on with discussion. So these are the partners we've been working on discussions to build up their community. So we want to give you guys an update on what they're doing, because as ATMOS token holders, all their community activity contributes to the value of your ATMOS token. So we're starting with Boid, and Boid is looking to reduce their inflation. They have a proposal at the moment they're voting on to reduce their inflation from around 15 million Boid tokens per year. They're looking to reduce their total emission of Boid tokens from 40 million, which is the current number, down to 15 million Boid tokens per year. So again, if that's something you want to take a look at and kind of vote on the proposals, there's a link down below. You could go and check that out. And our other partner, Blockbase, their 5th round of BBT airgrabs is ending soon. They'll be distributing out 3.4 million BBTs. So this is their 5th round of airgrabs of 24. They're doing 24 monthly airgrabs. So if you miss your chance this airgrab, make sure you go check that out and find out how to participate in the next airgrab. And they also did another video interview with Scott Cunningham. So if you want to learn about the project, check out that video. Scott did a great in-depth interview with Ricardo and Diego, two good friends of mine here from Lisbon and the creators of the Blockbase project. Pommel this week was chosen to represent the Gold Coast as top 10 most innovative company. So Gold Coast is a innovation hub formed by key members of the leadership team behind the award-winning software company Omantech, launched in 2017 with the support of Queensland government, City of Gold Coast, and over 20 corporate partners committed to driving a new digital economy on the Gold Coast. So, and they are having a contest. So if you're interested in getting yourself from Pommel, go check out their contest. Okay, so back to content discussions.
Hey Jack, really quick. Yeah. Has there been any updates on just the sort of our discussion partners integrating Unified ID? Has that any updates on that front?
No, actually.
So it's still in the works. It's just we haven't had anyone roll anything out yet.
Well, we're building out we're actually refining the Unified ID just because right now the Unified ID is quite simple. So we are developing the ambassador program with Blockbase, and through that development process, we're adding, we're kind of giving a more specific specification of the Unified ID. So our partners are looking to integrate account data into Unified ID, which is something that we didn't have before. So this is we're working on it. So yeah, we just have to make sure that the partners Unified ID spec is up to what the partners need for their project as well. So progress is ongoing, but in terms of integration, we're not there yet.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so continuing our content discussion, so we had an article by Jimmy of Tribe. He did a very extensive interview with a top blog producer and the founder of Chintai, Ryan. So if you want to check that article out, it goes into a little bit about how Ryan thinks about burning the EOS savings account versus putting it towards something like a worker proposal. So great article, go check it out. And this week, South Korea, India, Germany, and France all legalized cryptocurrency within the same week. So what do you guys make of that? Is this a beginning of a bull run?
I mean, I think it's a good excuse for a bull run, but there's so much weird stuff going on, globally.
It's definitely exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, the market looks excited about it, but not overly excited about it. I think it was only up 4 or 5%, something like that. So
yeah, if the coronavirus wasn't in place right now, I think there might have been a bull.
Do you think the coronavirus affects the cryptocurrency prices?
Well, for sure. Like the coronavirus affected the financial markets, say like the equities market.
Right. For sure.
They both dropped simultaneously.
Mm-hmm. The only logical, again, I'm not I don't know, I don't know what the market is thinking, but the only logical conclusion that I could see that how the coronavirus would affect the cryptocurrency market is like you said, it's like if the coronavirus affects the aviation markets, and people who invest in those markets also invest in cryptocurrency. If their stock drops, maybe they want to cash out their cryptocurrency, and that's affecting it. That's like the only reason, because the two things is so far apart. And I've seen these articles, and I feel like whenever there's any kind of dramatic war event, it's like, oh, this is great for cryptocurrency. I was like, what? This makes no sense. So I don't know. I'm skeptical about those articles.
I think a lot of in cryptocurrency on a speculative basis, and they might have leveraged some of their more traditional currencies or like stock holdings in order to purchase crypto, and that's why it's linked together.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, what do you make of it, Paul? What do you?
A lot of investing here, though.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think what probably happens is there's the initial panic, which I think you saw all markets dropping.
Yeah.
And then I think people will look for opportunities. I think overall the equities market's been so overvalued that this was also another really good excuse to sort of, cut it out to a degree where, things are not, I don't think they're going back to the mean, but they're definitely, some of the hype is deflating from those markets. So this could be the building block for something like this, as people kind of start looking at other options for investment opportunities. They feel like the market's not going heat back up the way it has. I think it's just been so easy to throw money into the S&P and just kind of.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably affected crypto's ability, because it's like, why would you go with this risky thing that could be really good return wise, but also I can just throw money into SPY and make a good. So fundamental based, sort of madness like it always does. But so I think this is a good, very. I'm starting it's a blockchain based toilet paper company. So if you guys want to, we're going to do an old school ICO for it. It's going to be great. Decentralized toilet paper manufacturing.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm hearing investors, knocking on my doors already.
People are lining up, just shopping carts, just getting ready for the huge.
Well, I heard.
Keep that in mind.
I think you have more success if you launch it in Australia though, because I heard.
Oh yeah, I saw that fight at the Woolworths. That was.
Yeah, it's getting nutty. It's getting nutty.
I still don't understand it. It's not like this is like well, the worst has happened. You run out of toilet paper. It's like you're still running water. I don't get it. I'm still trying to piece it together.
Yeah. Me too. I think it's just people panicking. People like buying up canned foods and whatever. It's like people are thinking as if this is like the apocalypse. So.
Yeah, but like the thing with canned food is like that's good just in general to have a good supply in case something does happen like locally, like an earthquake or whatever. That's fine. I just. What are you gonna do with 100 rolls of toilet paper that just take up a ton of room in your house? It's weird. People are weird.
You could wrap your head around it.
You never know. They might think of it as a commodity.
I guess.
Yeah, it's better than Bitcoin.
Store of value.
Yeah. Or you just wrap your head around it, if you have masks.
Say if shit hits the fan, maybe toilet paper is worth more than like
Maybe.
Toilet paper to the moon. Invest now.
Anyways, moving.
Yeah, moving.
Moving on. Thank you for that, Brian. Again, just before we leave that topic, not financial advice. We have no idea what's going on in the market, so don't take advice from us at all. So last bit of news. We all, as a communication platform, social media platform, whatever you want to call us, we keep an eye on what's been going on in the general social media landscape. And this week, there's a really interesting article that came out saying that there is a conservative mega political donor, active investor, that have invested about $1 billion in Twitter in hopes of ousting Jack Dorsey. So this is quite interesting. Obviously, Twitter is one of the most popular social media platform for us cryptocurrency folks. So any kind of movement on that platform tends to affect us pretty closely. But also just to go to show with decentralized platforms, there's a lot of moving pieces that come to play. I actually think Twitter have one of the better reputations in terms of preserving free speech. But with the recent news and the next thing I'm going to bring up, I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. But yeah, before I move on to that bit of news, do you guys want to chip in on what you guys think about this action to oust Jack Dorsey?
Well, I think Jack Dorsey said they didn't want to do any. They wanted to ban political advertising.
Yeah.
The new Republican mega donor just wants to start advertising via Twitter again. Is that correct? Or is that a totally different
So yeah,
thing?
so Facebook, what happened was I forgot what it was. Oh, Facebook came out saying that they won't fact check political ads because we are leading up to the 2020 United States presidential election, so like a lot of political money are flowing in, and a lot of people wanted Facebook to fact check and limit some political ads, and Facebook came out saying no, we won't do that. We about quote unquote free speech. Take that how you will, and we won't limit any kind of advertisement. We won't fact check any political ads. We won't pull any ads. And Twitter did the very much opposite and say, okay, well, you could still have, you could still say what you want, but we won't accept any form of political ads. So two very different approaches. I think Twitter's approach, I think, is a little bit better, to be honest, in my opinion. So yeah.
I think they just want to avoid the can of worms, which is, allowing that. It puts forward position. We've now seen that you can put amounts of, and it was just kind of avoiding.
Sorry, you had a little bit Paul there, but I think what you said was like, having tons of money to spend on political campaigns might not be such a good thing, but as we've seen with the Bloomberg campaign, having a tons of money doesn't guarantee any success in any kind of political campaign.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think politics is more than just ad. There's a damaging kind of element that, broadly speaking, we start looking at politics as like just a game to buy and sell. It's a little bit less about ideas and more about just kind of attack ads. It just becomes kind of a joke in that sense. So I think with the money, it's not so much that it's $1 versus a different dollar points of view. It's just the idea that this is just another place where you can just saturate a marketplace with stuff, and it's not really earned. It's like, hey, we're buying these are like. I think Twitter's just trying to, and Facebook is obviously, God knows what Facebook. I tell you there is. There's definitely a difference in terms of how they approach this.
Yeah, for sure. So another interesting.
It's more users, more ads.
Sorry, Brian, you were saying more users, more ads. You're both cutting out a bit.
Actually, right before it.
Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brian, on that one.
Can you say that again? Sorry, you guys were cutting out for me.
Cares more about their top. So as long as it generates money for them, they don't really care about whether.
Yeah, I that's why I think Twitter's approach is more defendable in terms of okay, we're not gonna take any political money at all versus Facebook's, which they could just to say that for free speech, but when in actuality they just care about that political cash coming in. So
I can see argument. I don't know whether one's doing it better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's up to readers to check the facts themselves.
Yeah. Well, in a bit of a dash of cryptocurrency spice, Elon came out and endorsed Jack Dorsey, saying he's backing Jack for the CEO to be the CEO of Twitter, to stay as the CEO of Twitter, and also Vitalik came out in support of Jack Dorsey. So, we'll see what happens. with the that. And just one last bit of Twitter news, and I think we'll wrap it up. And is that Twitter now have new rules on what constitutes as hate speech, and if you say things that are relating to age, sex, and anything that might upset or offend other users on the platform, you might find your account suspended. So as I was just heaping praise on Twitter a while ago, now they seem to be cracking down on what they consider to be hate speech. So what are you guys' takes on that?
And this is another like slippery slope of any platform trying to make these decisions for people. There's always going to be, this is a ripe for abuse in terms of getting people banned and blocked, and legitimate criticism. For example, bringing out legitimate sort of concerns about certain presidential candidates who might be experiencing dementia or other age-related illnesses. That could be viewed as hate speech, and that's a way to shut down those criticisms.
That's a very good point. I haven't thought about that. I know there.
Yeah, so I think this is where Twitter gets into sticky scenarios, and I think this goes to the point of what we're trying to do here, which is keep this squarely centered on the user.
Yeah.
If I don't agree with someone, I can simply exclude them from my views if I want, or I can engage with them. But either way, I don't have a platform telling me what is and what isn't to try to protect me from something that I'm capable of making those decisions on my own, or delegating trusted individuals to do for me. So ultimately, I think this will be a problem for Twitter, because it will get abused, because all these things always do.
Yeah, and I agree. And with that, I have no better way to top Paul's assessment of the situation, but I do have someone else that might be able to top Paul, and that is this week's free speech quote. This is one I submitted, actually. This is a quote by Christopher Hitchens, a prolific author and speaker, and the quote is, "It's not just the right of the person who speaks to be heard, it's the right of everyone else in the audience to listen and to hear." So I think that summarizes Paul's point as well, which is not only should you have the opportunity to speak, but you need to preserve your right to hear someone say something that might be important. So
yeah.
If you like that quote, if you like that quote, go leave a comment on. If you agree with that quote, give it an upvote on Discusions.app. If you disagree with it, go leave a comment telling us why you disagree with that quote. And with that, we are going to sign off now. So, team.
Yep. Thanks everyone for listening. Until next week. Getting excited about the staking system coming online. So everyone should start moving their ATMOS into a unified ID in preparation for that.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. Remember, Wednesday, March 18th is the deadline for the first payout.
Yep, that is the deadline. Okay, and I'll see you guys next week. Ciao, ciao.
All right. Bye.